Hey everybody, happy Tuesday morning. It's a wonderful world outside. It is not blazing hot like it's been the last couple of days, so hopefully you guys are going to get out and enjoy the sunshine today. So once again, thank you guys for showing up on the Tuesday live stream. We're doing something a little bit different today. So what we're going to do is get into how to make some social media ideas fast and a lot of them. So before I leave my guys hanging here too long, what we're going to do is go around the horn real quick. And one of the faces might seem familiar. He's been on the stream with us before. John, why don't you introduce yourself, homie?
All right, what's up? My name's John Colhett. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams Capital Partners, and I've been an agent for 3 years.
Graham, and yourself?
Graham Nadler, Ruoff Mortgage. I'm a younger loan officer in Ryan's office. It's been a great mentor to me, and I'm excited to be here.
Aww. Thanks, buddy. I love you too. All right, so the reason for today's live stream is I kind of had an epiphany a couple weeks ago, and it kind of circled around the idea that coming up with social media ideas is hard. And we're all told that we have to create and put ourselves out there on social media in order to grow our business. So our brokers, the influencers that we pay attention to. So we're all told that we need to put ourselves out there on social media in order to grow our business. So I've known this for a long time, but I've completely ignored it. And a couple of weeks ago, John was kind enough to come into the office and kind of show me how Instagram works. Now, I'm older than both these gentlemen, but I should be able to figure these platforms out. So with John's help, I was able to kind of get my feet wet and kind of start getting into the social media stuff. So before then, it was a lot of my activities were based upon the old school sales techniques. So phone calls, text messages, emails, face-to-face, that kind of stuff. But what I was realizing is I was leaving a lot of business on the table, and social media is a good way to get myself out there to help grow my exposure. So the next thing is okay, so what the hell do we talk about? What content do we put out there? Because the whole point of social media is to show who we are and to differentiate ourselves from the people that we compete with. So for John, it would be other agents. For Graham and I, it would be other loan officers. What do we do to make ourselves different? So lightning bolt hit me a couple weeks ago and was able to create a system. And we're going to go through this system with you guys today. You're going to be able to watch as we create content for the next year for John and Graham together. So it's a very simple system. And I want you guys to contribute to the conversation as well in the chat. So the first thing we need to start with And I got this idea from a book called Traffic Secrets, and it's by Russell Brunson. And in the book, it talks about how to get more traffic in front of your message. And in there, he talked about what's called the JK5 method. So the JK5 method basically simplifies what you're going to be talking about on social media. So pick something that you want to be known for, or pick 5 things that you want to be known for. So in this case, I asked both these gentlemen to do a little bit of homework ahead of time and lay out a couple things that they want to be known for. And that's going to be the foundation for what you're going to be talking about on social media. So Graham, why don't you lay out what you would like to be known for, sir?
So my things that I want to be known for: real estate, traveling, and then being a local
Okay.
pro, and then investing as well.
Okay. So real estate, that's kind of all encompassing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
First time home buyers, rental properties, a lot of different topics.
Good. And then travel, kind of what would be an example of travel? Like what would you talk about?
Just trips in general that other people might enjoy, maybe like hidden trails or highways that you might not know if you weren't tuning
Nice.
into my stuff.
Well, so you actually shared before we got on the live that you're getting ready to go on a trip, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a great opportunity for you kind of to document your trip and be able to talk about your experience there.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And then John, what were your couple?
Yeah, so similar lines, real estate being kind of the top there, and being the expert guide or Sherpa to individuals and families in the real estate world. I think that's going to be on all 3 of ours, actually. The next one's kind of just outdoor adventures, from running, cycling, climbing, camping, all that good stuff. Just having a blast outside. And then similar to Graham's, kind of being that local expert. If someone says they're moving to a certain neighborhood, I'll mention all the coffee shops, bars, restaurants, all the coolest parks for the family, whatever it is in every neighborhood, just being that local expert. And then my last one, just being a connector and kind of connecting people to winning opportunities and connecting people to other people who are like-minded.
Nice. So all of those are great. And one of the cool things is you can take those and make it super interesting content. And on top of that, you can make it to where it is valuable to other people. So like if someone is watching Graham's content, like you're going to Greece, you can drop, hey, here's something that I learned about how to manage the airport in Greece. Or John, here's a local park, a little hidden gem that we found that I really love. You should check it out. So now that you have your ideas of what you want to be known for, really the crux then is trying to figure out, okay, so how do I spin that off into content ideas? Because that's only 3 to 4 of them a piece. So I can only do so much with 3 or 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And before we got on the stream, I asked John and Graham to share some of the things, and I've laid them out here. So this is a tool called Kugel or Kogel, not sure what it is, but it's a free tool that basically helps you create a mind map. So this was the breakthrough, the aha moment that I had a couple weeks ago is, okay, so each of these things, real estate, travel, outdoor, connector, local pro. So each of those can be spun off into a bunch of different ideas. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to start mind dumping all of our ideas onto this sheet. And you guys are going to then take this sheet and then spin it off 6 different ways for each piece of content that we come across. So real estate being the one that makes the most sense for us to start with, what we're going to do is, all right, so when you think of real estate, John, what is a subtopic of real estate?
First-time buyers.
Let's simplify that a little bit more.
All right.
So buying. Okay. And then inside of the buying, you can have first-time buyers. Okay. Graham, what's another part of real estate?
Selling.
Selling. Okay. Okay. And then what is something about selling that we could talk about? Either of you.
John, you might be more equipped.
Hey, maximizing kind of the equity that you get out of your home.
Out net to seller / equity. Okay. What is something else that we could do about selling?
Talk about timing of the market and how to time up the natural cycles of
Ooh, that's good.
what the year looks like. Listing a house early December might not be the best idea.
Okay. All right. And so to kind of take this a little bit further, so cycles of the market. With cycles of the market, what could we spin that off into as a subtopic?
We could go on, not only yearly cycles, but what the market looks like now to what trends are happening in the future that might affect the market. Then you get into speculation, which I don't necessarily want to do. So,
okay. So market trends, and then so cycles of the market. The first thing that came to mind to me is the annual cycles. Okay, so we could talk about first quarter or winter. Okay, and then we can also, well, not in that one. Okay. And then we could talk about Q2 in spring. And then Q3 summer, Q4 fall. So within those, what are some of the things that are unique about each of those parts of the cycle?
In the fall, we're having people go back to school, so
Okay.
that can dictate families.
And I gotta apologize. My typing and my spelling skills are not what they should be. All right. What else? So what would we look like in the spring? What is something that is pretty prevalent in spring?
People getting ready for the summer.
Okay.
Taking vacations.
Okay.
But
End of school. Okay. And then what about the last quarter? What is something that we could talk about with the last quarter?
Holidays, Christmas.
Okay. Okay. And then summer. So summer is typically what? The hottest time of the market?
Yeah. Typically, I typically see kind of end of summer being, late July, August being the busiest 2 months, because that's when you have people coming back from vacations. They're ready to get in their new house for the new school year.
Okay. End of summer rush. So DK, not sure who DK is, but DK, thank you for commenting. So the app is called Kugel or Kogel, Coggle. And once again, it's free if you look at it. And this is, I've vetted a couple of them, but this is the one that I found is the fastest and easiest one to use. Okay, so we kind of got the idea of different cycles in the market. So we're going to take that and set it aside. So for buying, what are some other topics that we can talk about?
Rental properties.
Rental, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so staying on topic, what are some things that we could talk about with that?
How to get the best kind of, talk about cap rate, talk about what, look to spend per your rent, what areas to look in. Sorry,
No, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Areas, cap rate.
Appreciation.
Okay.
Cash flow.
What about you, Graham? Cash flow, yep.
Nice.
Cash flow. All right, and just kind of staying on this kind of thing, cash flow, what is something that we could do a subtopic for cash flow?
Graham brought it up.
I know, no, I'm screwed. Subtopic for cash flow.
You talk about different like loan programs for investors to make sure they're getting the best cash flow for their priorities.
Yeah.
Grams.
That's a good one.
But for this one, we could talk about down payment.
Mm-hmm.
And then for multi, you need 25% down for single family. Single family, you can get away with 15. Okay. Okay. What else could we add to the rental investment side of things?
Off of which,
But you pick.
No.
We're
Talk about like expenses, needing property management, maintaining a fund to be able to pay for repairs and all that.
Okay, that's good. So
and I would say relationships. I would say it's probably important with any type of real estate transaction, but with rental investing, you want to have good property manager, like John said, handyman, people that can have vendors.
okay, so something that we could talk about with handyman, how to find a good one, how to vet a good one, how to know if they're charging too much. So we'll get into that here in a second. Okay, so that's good. This is a good start. So for first-time home buyers, so I know a lot of people want to use first-time home buying as a. It's going to cooperate. There we go. First-time home buying. All right. So what can we talk about for first-time home buying?
Pre-approval process.
Process. That's the big question that I get often.
Your guys' field of expertise.
Okay. Talk about assets. Talk about.
Student loans.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So fun.
Student loans and credit and
I think down payment requirements would be a good one because
Okay.
a lot of first-time buyers don't think you can put down less than 20%.
so we have assets here. So we could take. We talk about down payment assistance. We could talk about down payment needed. Talk about not moving money around. Talk about gifts. Okay, so John, we're going to step back into your arena. What else can we talk about with selling?
Are we not going back to buying?
Oh, so we were on buying.
Well, I just had some more ideas for the first-time buyers.
Yeah, fire away.
Because a lot of those were the finance side of things, which is super important.
Uh-huh.
But I've noticed a lot of my conversations with first-time buyers, especially like first-time buyers who are like just recently got married. They want kids in their future, or something like that. But a lot of first-time buyers view their first house as their forever home, and they get frustrated because their offers are getting shot down left and right in the price point that they want their forever home in. So using that as buying something that's maybe on the lower end that they're going to stay in for 5 to 10 years, and then leverage that to upgrade into something bigger. And once my first time buyers have that conversation, they have an epiphany and they're 1,000 times happier than if they, skim by the skin of their teeth to get in that forever home.
Nice. That's a good one. Because Graham and I run into that one a lot. First time home buyers thinking that it's got to be the house, when honestly I've had 5 houses since 2003. And
Right.
each one has, like you said, each one's helped me progress to where we are right now in our forever home at 38 years old.
Right.
Okay, so expectations. Okay. What else could we add to here?
I think looking at market trends too, like right now, setting up your buyers to know that they're going to have to do appraisal gap, they're going to have to waive contingencies to get accepted. But in a year, in 10 years, it might not be like that. So, a lot of first-time buyers are educated by their friends and family who bought houses not recently, but in the past. And the market's just not like it was then, just like in 5 years. Hopefully, it's not like this in 5 years,
Okay.
Good. Does it say why trust your agent's advice?
Yes.
Nice.
How to get your forever home, how to win an offer. Okay, so what are some of the things that you've seen when it comes to how you have been so successful to get your offers accepted? Don't give away the secrets, but give me bullet points.
I'm happy. So, a lot of it's setting up expectations and educating up front.
Okay.
That way, if you have someone that wants a house and their budget's $250, you're going to set their expectation like, hey, right now in the market, we're going to be looking in the low 200s, high hundreds to be able to compete and get that house, instead of making offers at list price and just be disappointed, wasting your time, wasting my time. Obviously getting hooked up with a good lender who's going to go above and beyond, like you guys do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Our lender. What do
I
you
would
want to
add communication, and something that Ryan's taught me, but just opening communication with the listing agent, make sure everybody's on the same page. I definitely have won offers by just communicating well with our, buyer's agent, myself, introducing our buyers. And we've been able to beat other offers that have been higher in the past. So I think communication is pretty important, actually.
So, John, since you kind of work both sides of the transaction, what are some of the things that you are looking for as a listing agent when you have a client? Like, what makes offer stand out besides just a crazy, stupid offer?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the team on the other end of the deal. Like, if I can tell that they've done a good job educating their buyer, that's going to go a long way. So if I know if I talk to someone I don't think that they know what they're talking about, I know for a fact that when they educate their client, that they're not educating their client to the best. I guess they're not doing the best job educating their client, and that could throw a huge wrench in the deal if the appraisal comes in low, but they put the appraisal gap in, or something along those lines. I want to have confidence that the other agent knows what they're doing and educated their buyer properly. Same with the lender. I want to make sure the lender knows what they're doing. They're not just throwing out pre-approvals, left and right.
So for a new agent, so how would you suggest a new agent kind of overcome not necessarily having the experience to exude that confidence that you just mentioned was important?
I mean, I think taking the steps, honestly, if a new agent tells me that they're new, I view that as a listing agent. I view that with a ton of respect, knowing that, I'd rather know that and help them, right, and make sure that they are educating everything in the line. Like if they have an appraisal gap, that's a big one right now. But if they have an appraisal gap, making sure that they can explain to me. And if not, then I'll explain to them how to properly explain to their client. Because at the end of the day, the listing agent and the buyer's agent are working together to get the deal done. It doesn't benefit anybody if there's any surprises in the contract.
Yes, that kind of goes back to this security.
And I've had some too, actually on both sides, where the listing agent or buyer's agent on the other end of the deal was newer, and they said they had a coach or a mentor on the other side. And I said, that's great. Like, I'd love to have conversations with you and me and your coach, so we can know that, like, I'm not taking advantage of you, but we're working together to get it done, and that our clients are educated and know well. So if you have a coach as a new agent, bringing that coach in on your deals and talking to your co-oping agent is huge. Something I wish I'd have done as a new agent. Yeah.
No, that's a clutch idea. I really like that one. And once again, faking it till you're making it is okay. But once again, when it comes to service your client and making sure that they get what they need, your pride needs to kind of go out the window.
Yeah.
So having the confidence in yourself to be able to pull someone else in who knows a little bit more about what they're doing, I think shows a lot of maturity. Yep. So that's a good point. Let me see here. Anything else that you guys want to add? And we can, once again, keep spouting off, but you guys are getting the idea here for real estate. So we're going to take a departure from there and talk about local. So this is the one that all three of us share. So this will help all of us kind of exude that local expert. Now, real estate is great, but if we have people that are following us in Kansas City, that doesn't really do the three of us much good. So showing that we know our local market really well and we have a lot of pride in our market is important. So what are some of the things that we could talk about when it comes to being a local pro?
Neighborhoods.
Okay.
In parts of town.
Okay.
Maybe it would be after neighborhoods, but restaurants.
I always butcher this one. God damn, I got it. Okay, what else?
Local sports teams.
Okay. Kind of one that would go along with that is events.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so let's pick one of these. What could we go a little bit deeper on?
I think neighborhoods would be a good one, especially because like I almost suggested adding that to the real estate part of it. Especially if we're dealing with people who are moving from out of town, they don't know the area.
Okay.
Like I've won higher end buyer clients because of my local knowledge, because they want someone who knows the areas well and is passionate about certain areas.
Yeah.
But also, obviously, that's a gray area because you could get into steering and all that stuff. But being knowledgeable is super, super important. Like I said, has helped me win recently some higher end buyer clients that I was shocked to have won. So
now you actually shared that story with me. And once again, I don't think this is going to be a Rust Belt Fair housing thing, but tell me how you landed that client over the other realtor that you were competing with. I think this is worth sharing.
Yeah. So obviously, I love riding bikes. I love running, and that's kind of how I experienced my area.
Uh-huh.
So I was literally like, they were interviewing a couple different agents. They were interviewing one big shot agent in Worthington where I live. And I was like, oh, there's no way. There's no way. I don't have a chance of getting it. But I mentioned they brought up a house. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like right around the running trail. And I love running to that trail to like this thing. And like just said it kind of off the cuff, like as not even as a selling point. Uh-huh. And then, call ended. And then they told me who else they're interviewing. And I just wrote it off. I was like, they're not calling me back. And they called me back and I was like, that's awesome. I'm so excited to work with you. Why? Like, why did you me and not this other person? And they're like, oh, like just, the kind of passion you had about your neighborhood and the local knowledge you had. And this person, the other agent, lived in the neighborhood as well. And they're like, yeah, the passion you have and the knowledge you have of that area is exciting. I was like, oh, cool. Are you guys like runners too? And they said, oh, absolutely not. But we love from your point of view.
No, see, that's awesome. So what you did was you basically took it out of being a service provider and made it an emotional connection with them because you showed some vulnerability. You were probably a little bit, you were running when you were doing it, right?
I was not running on the call.
Gotcha.
No,
gotcha.
Not quite.
But all that being said, you were able to break down that professional aura that all of us try to exude, and you were just a real person. Hey, I was doing this, thought of you guys, and then that really helped you solidify yourself in their mind as someone who gives a shit about them. So well done, sir. So outside of, because once again, we have people watching from all over. So as far as the different parts of town, we could go into specific areas for Columbus. So New Albany, Westerville, Gahanna, and then go over the nuances with those. But what are some of the things that you could talk about or topics that you could look for in different parts of town?
Can you ask the question again? I do actually. Can I push back about one thing? Because you said it's shooting in from all over.
Yeah.
So one thing. So as a real estate agent, I don't know if it's as prevalent in the lending world, but having referral partners in different cities is huge. I'm an agent in Tucson, Arizona.
Whoa.
That, strangely enough, like we've traded probably 5 or 6 transactions and referrals. Me and that other agent, and we connected on Instagram. I just had another one go down to middle of nowhere, Kentucky.
Really?
They're looking for land to build on. They're climber friends of mine, and they want to build a big cabin on a big lot down by the Red River Gorge where there's a lot of good climbing. And I went out on Instagram and found an agent down there who's a climber. And I found them because of Instagram and hashtags and all that stuff. And I was able to refer them to an agent who's passionate about the same things, who's good at their job because of that, because they're posting in those things. So, if you are an agent from and you're connected with agents around the country and you're posting about hyper local things, like it is a huge benefit for those referral partners.
No, and that's good. And once again, showing yourself as a normal person versus just someone posting closing pictures, I think that's kind of what helped you win over that relationship with someone from out of town because they see that you're just a normal guy.
And kind of on the same, or go ahead, John.
Yeah, after you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, my mom just got a new apartment, and I grew up in Columbus, but it's in an area that she's not used to, and she's having difficulty finding restaurants to go to, and it's not that hard to Google, but she's struggling like being comfortable. So that's where being a local expert, like John was saying, I think can be a big benefit to somebody, especially somebody from out of the state, let alone somebody who's from Columbus, like my mom.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, if they find someone like John that they enjoy watching, they're probably going to watch more of his content, and therefore the social media algorithms are going to reward John with more watches, and it's going to keep feeding them more and more. So familiarity comes with repetition, and trust gets built after familiarity. So I think that's what's worked really well for you, John. And that's kind of what inspired me to get going on the whole social media thing, is just watching the way that you're able to build trust with complete strangers in a very short period of time. So thank you. All right. So outside of Local Pro, what are some of the other things that we could touch on? Okay. So John, anything else that we want to add to Local Pro?
I think along with that too is knowing, and this is where Local Pro and Real Estate are connected, is knowing the school districts and having the right resources to send clients to. Because we can't say this is a good school district or a bad school district. We can say, hey, go to niche.com and check out the ratings of different school districts.
That's a good one. I mean, because once again, that's during the summer months, that's the people that are typically moving are people that their kids just got out of school and they got to move before the school year starts again. So having that in your back pocket is good.
I'll add one more, I guess.
Yeah, please do.
Be a good one. So it could go with real estate as well, but just being aware of the development that is happening. Columbus is a fast-growing city, and so a lot of people that I work with keep a pulse on what's happening, what's being built, and so I think that adds a ton of value. If that's somebody buying a home or rental properties or anything like that. So could go on Local Pro or real estate, but yeah, I think it's a good one.
I think it's a good point, Graham.
Right. So John, I think we're going to pivot to you in the outdoor stuff. So I know you've been swimming in this pond for a while. So what kind of things could you talk about? And this is more of the personal side of things, you branding yourself, not necessarily you as a professional, but what are some of the outdoor things that you talk about on the regular?
Yeah. So running is a big one. Cycling, climbing, camping.
Frisbee as well?
Frisbee. Yeah. Recently, because of Ted Lasso, has gotten into soccer quite a bit.
How's that show, by the way?
Oh, it's fantastic. It'll change your life.
I have no idea, by the way, if I spelled Frisbee right, but we're just going to leave it. And then, so cycling, camping. Okay, so let's pick one of these and kind of go into a subtopic.
Hey, DK just asked us a question again about something I said. It was niche.com. It's niche.com.
Yeah.
And it's just DK, I don't know if you're a real estate agent or not, or why, how you got connected here, but it's hard to kind of walk that line of fair housing. And so I always say, hey, look at niche.com. They rate all of the school districts, and they actually break it down to, some school districts have multiple elementary schools and middle schools and even high schools. And it breaks all that down just to, it's a nice, easy look at this place. It covers your butt, but it also gives them, good resources to look at.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that I was told early on in my new build days is you can't talk about school system. You can only just forward them information. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a good resource. So what was the subtopic that you wanted to talk about?
I forget.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'll pick for you. Camping.
Sure.
Okay, so camping. What is something that you could talk about with camping?
Best places to go camping.
It says...
Yeah. Building up too, this kind of connects to the local expert, connecting people to the best, outfitters and stuff like that.
Love it. Love it.
Equipment that would go in line with what you're saying, John.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so you guys kind of get the idea. So we're going to keep things moving. We're going to try to keep this to an hour. So Graham, we're going to pivot to you. So what are some things that you could talk about with travel?
Flights.
Okay. And what else?
Areas to go, countries, I guess, or states, regions.
Please. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Learned. I am just butchering my spelling. My fourth grade teacher would be very disappointed in me. Okay. Let me see here. You just share photos and videos. All right. So, and then for connector, who had connector? Is that John?
Yeah.
Okay. So, John, what are some of the things that you could talk about with being a connector?
Yeah. So, I mean, business opportunities would be huge. I have people reach out to me all the time for hiring new employees, for, needing a babysitter.
So,
Playing matchmaker.
or vendor pearls. Okay, connector. So this one can kind of bleed into connector and local pro. So if you have, so you were heavy into local brew scene, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, you can be a connector with people with your past connections with restaurants and those kind of things.
Mhm.
Also talk about restaurants. So it could kind of bleed into connector and local pro.
Mhm.
So that'd be good. What else?
Gosh, just if there are people moving to the same neighborhood that I know would be good friends, like doing different client events that are neighborhood centric. So
It's a good one.
Neighbors. This is all good stuff. So you can see here, all right, so we've spent maybe about 35 minutes and we have just barely scratched the surface. And then here's the content ideas that we're looking at. And once again, this is just very rudimentary stuff. So for the people that are watching, the next step that we're going to take after this is we are then going to take these ideas. Oh, yeah, these ideas are great. And okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so let's assume that we ended up with 40 ideas here. So let's just go with kind of that rough number. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but at least gives us a point to work from. So we would take these ideas. Sorry, hopefully don't give anyone a seizure. And the next step is taking these ideas. And I after John came in the office and after I did my mind map, the next thing is okay, I found this, YouTube served me this video of this Instagram influencer. And one of the things that she was talking about in her video was how to take and spin off one topic a bunch of different ways. So I don't know if it's going to let me zoom or not. And Google Sheets is going to cooperate. But let me see here. So boys on the replay, I'll make sure that you guys get yours. But for the sake of trying to make sure everything works properly. All right. So we could take the video topic or your social media topic, and let's just stick with real estate. Okay. So we could talk about building. Talk about to seller, talk about assets, down payment assistance, process, vendors, not moving money, student loans. Okay, So now that you start building out your content, the next thing you can do is you can spin that off a bunch of different ways. So this is what we call the content matrix. And this is where the majority of your ideas are going to end up flowing from. So we could talk about building a home specifically. We could talk about assets specifically, but we can also talk about the myths that go along with down payment assistance. We could talk about the mistakes that we've seen people make when it comes to down payment assistance, limiting the beliefs. So you guys were listening to a phone call before we got on here. The customer was saying that she thought all conventional loans, you had to put 20% down. So even though this is the pond that we swim in every day, this is not something that the people that we're going to be serving, this is not something that they do. Any questions so far?
That's great.
Proof. Objections. All right. Okay, so to kind of give to the people that are watching some examples, let's this up. So say we have all 40 ideas laid out here. So for down payment assistance, Graham, what is a myth that you see that someone could do, that some people have as far as down payment assistance?
That it exists, like that doesn't exist.
Okay, that's a
I
good
don't
one.
think a lot of people know that that's even out there.
Yep. Or you can make, just by being a first-time home buyer, you automatically get down payment assistance. So you and I know that that's not always the case.
Or that the president has given down payment assistance to everybody.
That's a big one. We could. So, what are some down payment mistakes that you've seen people make?
Relying only on down payment assistance.
That's right. So for limiting beliefs, kind of like the gal that I was talking to before we got on the stream. Once again, we're putting her with down payment assistance, but she thought that she had to put 20% down as well. So once again, they're relying on this information from some schmuck on the internet or from their family and friends that maybe know just a little bit. Social proof. So what do you guys think of when I say the word social proof?
Everyone else is doing it.
Yep, that's true. You could also talk about customer stories. So John Smith just went through this process. Here was his experience, and here's some things that he learned along the way, mistakes that he made. Spelling is awful. And what are some objections that a lot of people have about, or some people have about down payment help?
About what?
What are some objections that people have that they need to know about? Like, okay, so I don't need down payment help because I have a gift, or I don't need down payment help because of X, Y, or Z. But if we can break out the numbers, we can actually show them that it may or may not make sense for them.
Or I don't want PMI in my loan, so I want to make 20% down. You say, okay, let's look at how much PMI is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's $50 a month. Okay, let's do it.
Exactly. So for net to seller, I see this one a lot when it comes to clients that are selling a home and they get surprised by what ends up being a lower amount on their net to seller. So what are kind of sticking with the real estate side of things, John, what are some of the myths that you could talk about when it comes to a net to seller or generating a net to seller?
Yeah. So one of the biggest, myth that I see, and I think it might be more of an objection, would be that if I cut my realtor's fee, that's the best way to save money. And the thing I always say is like, all right, let's see. If I go from 3 to 2% or whatever it is, if I cut a percentage off, that saves you X dollars. But because you're getting what you pay for, you're hiring an expert. If I make you this much more money, that'll more than pay for that extra percentage that you want to cut.
Right.
That's one thing I see.
Okay, good. And then what is a mistake that you've seen someone make when it came to their net to seller?
I mean, in this market, I think people will take out a HELOC to do work to their house where they end up at best breaking even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's doing the right projects to match the market. So if you spend $9,000 on new carpet, but the market doesn't care, you might get $9,000 more, but you've then wasted your time.
Well, exactly.
To break even. So.
Have you had that happen?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
And I've talked to people after they did the project, and they'll want that money back, and I'll say I'll try my best to get it back for you, but like at best in this market you'll get it back, depending on the project.
All right, so you kind of get the idea of the process flow when it comes to sitting down and mapping out your ideas for social media. So the first one is come up with your 3 to 5 things. So once again, the three of us share real estate, local. John has outdoor, Graham has travel, John has connector. So for the people that are watching, that's really the thing that you need to focus on first is what do you want to be known for? So if you're just getting on the live now, you have to figure out what you want people to know you for. And it can't be everything because then you are not occupying any space in their brain for anything. Because most of the agents, most of the loan officers, they're just spraying content and they're grasping at straws. But if you can have that focus on just a couple things that you want to be known for, then you have a better chance of occupying that space in someone else's brain. So once you have your ideas, your 3 to 5 ideas, and I would limit it to no more than 5 because otherwise you might confuse people, and then start just dumping ideas out. And once again, we came up with a lot very quickly when it came to the rental investment side of things. And then, so get all of your ideas out of your head and onto paper. And then once you have done that, you can then spin those topics into a bunch of different pieces of content over the same thing. So just because you talked about what a net to seller is, doesn't mean that you can never create anything about net to seller ever again. So look for ways to utilize the same topic over and over again. So for example, we ended up with our initial push, we ended up coming with 173 different topics. Okay. And then if you spin those, the 6 different ways on your content matrix, myths, mistakes, motivations, those kind of things, and you spin 173 primary topics, 6 different ways, come up with over 1,000 pieces of content. And that's really what I wanted you guys to get out of this today. You guys here on the stream with me and those who are watching now or on the replay is you're going to be able to spin off a lot of different ideas very, very quickly. The next thing that you have to do is just trying to figure out how you're going to organize this. So I'm going to stop the share. So and this came out of the conversation that I had with John. So on social media, there's a bunch of different ways that you can push your message out. So there's stories, there's posts, and then there's shorts or reels. So John, once again, I really have leaned heavily on you for this, and thank you. So what is some of the things that you have found as far as what the purpose is of stories?
Yeah, so stories is kind of, and obviously if you're on Instagram, you can set it up to push it through to Facebook, which I recommend doing. But those short little stories are kind of like a good behind the scenes look, because they only last 24 hours. So if you spend too much time thinking about what to create in them, you're just wasting your time. You're spinning your wheels. So just quick, like, I'm at this restaurant. Let me take a quick photo and give that restaurant a shout out. Or, I'm walking into a showing. I wonder if this offer is going to be accepted. We'll see. Obviously, you want to, that's a fine line to balance because you don't want to jeopardize anything with that offer. So obviously be careful with that. But use that as like really quick, really easy, low budget productions.
Okay. So yeah, like you said, behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, so think about the real estate shows that are on TV, like Bravo or A&E or wherever they live. I mean, that's really why those shows are popular, is because they're getting to see the behind the scenes of what actually goes on in an agent's life. So how much, Graham, and I'm gonna let you answer this one, how much of what you and I do every day is a complete freaking mystery to everyone else that's not a loan officer?
Probably a lot.
I would agree with that. So what are some of the things that you could share as far as the behind the scenes stuff that would be somewhat entertaining to someone on the outside?
I think John has a little more fun with things that he can do, but I would say ordering title work to make sure there's no liens against the property. So all things that might not be quite as fun, but are important if you're buying a home.
Okay. If you get an appraisal waiver on a file, that could be one.
Yep.
That could be like what you talked about, you calling the listing agent. Hey, I just talked to the listing agent. Good news. We just beat out 30 other offers, mostly because I just called the listing agent. Is your loan officer doing this shit for you?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what we have found, at least on the Facebook side, and I have my Instagram and Facebook account linked. So what I found is over the posts, over the long form videos, I'm getting more eyeballs on the Facebook stories than I am anywhere else. And it takes less time to create those because Anthony's in the office right now filming behind the scenes, and that is paying for a whole nother person. That is camera gear and everything. And we're getting less love from that than we are from a 15-second video or a picture of my dog sleeping on the couch. So I think Facebook stories, Instagram stories, and I think YouTube is starting to get into the game, and LinkedIn's there, but once again, there's not much LinkedIn's doing to help promote you with other people, other professionals. So stories are great because they're, like John said, they're low drag and they show behind the scenes, but they're really pushing that hard as far as the algorithms are concerned. So the next thing, kind of the next level down after stories, is posts. So John, what are some of the actual posts, not stories, not reels, not video, but what are some of the posts that you have done that you were surprised they did well?
Yeah. So the number one kind of reaction I get to anything on my post-wise is kind of client success stories. So if a client is there in front of the camera telling their story, I mean, that's easy. And it's not about me. Like, that is my favorite thing to do. I'm telling my client stories. And by and large, like 5X of anything else, that's the number one engagement as far as posts go, are my clients' success stories.
That's awesome. So I don't know if you guys picked up on, so John mentioned that it's not a review, it's telling the customer story. So one of the things I think we all kind of get lost on is we all want to be the hero in our clients' eyes. But what John's doing is John is being that vehicle to help them accomplish their goals, because in most of our minds, we are our own hero. So if you as agents, as you as loan officers, you are trying to compete with them for that hero role, you're going to lose. So what John has done is he's made them the hero of their own story and allowed them to tell their story without John soliciting a review of how awesome John is. They're going to talk about how good of a job John did, but for the most part, it's going to be about the client and their experience. So do you do that in video form, or do you do that by sharing like a screenshot of a testimonial? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I try my best to get it on video, and I'll share it out and as a reel and as a post.
Nice.
Mostly for Facebook's algorithm.
Okay.
I try my best to do it, under a minute, on video in front of the house. I give them a script and kind of try to walk them through it as much as possible. But
okay.
But at the same time, if they don't feel comfortable with it, because a lot of clients don't, I hate being on video, so I understand. But I do, I ask them, and 9 times out of 10 they say I hate it, but I'll do it. And then they like having it too. I've noticed. I send it to them, and then they end up sharing it.
Nice.
Or share my post. So
yeah, you're getting a little bit
of video. That's the best.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So do you have? So besides client stories, what else have you found success with? And then Graham, I'm going to ask you the same question here in a minute.
As far as posts go?
Yeah. What other, not stories, not shorts and reels, but what posts do well for you?
Yeah. I mean, great real estate photography, which essentially just, new listing posts are probably the second best engagement wise. That's pretty much my 2 biggest buckets as far as posting goes. 'Cause same as you noticed, I mean, as far as your stories go, like that's the number one, from an engagement standpoint. you know, and it can be, you don't have to try that hard. It disappears in 24 hours. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Good. And Graham, what have you found as far as, well, let me ask you, have you started dipping your toes into the social media stuff yet?
No, I have not. But trying to learn from you in that way. And so people send me all the time. People send me funny TikToks of lenders, like basically outlining what not to do. And so I think that could be a good way to reach people and make it engaging with humor, but also still like learn a lesson. Like, hey, don't deposit a shoebox full of money, you know, whatever that you need for closing or something like that. So I think that would be a good way to kind of infuse knowledge and humor and make it watchable.
So would either of you recommend being the dancing professional on like the shorts, the reels, those kind of things?
If you're into dancing, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an agent. I forget her name. I think she's out of somewhere in the South, but she is like TikTok famous, and her husband's a doctor.
Okay.
He looks like Bob Ross, and they do it and they crush it. And you know, that's not me, so I don't want to do it. But yeah,
Well, see,
I think that's the big part of being authentic and kind of true to who you are. Like if you're not loving being on the screen in that way, like you're gonna be burnt out real quick.
Yeah, your want to get off the couch and actually post or produce content's not going to be there. Mm-hmm. So that's where having like the content stuff that we've been talking about. So if we're going to be talking, if we want to lay out a schedule for content, so on Monday we could talk about what appraisal myths are. Tuesday we could talk about a net to seller mistake. So that's really the purpose of the first half of this live stream, was to help generate ideas so we can have stuff to talk about for stories, for posts, and for shorts. So one of the things that we have really leaned into, especially with having Anthony on the team, is we're going to go hard at the shorts and stories and reels, because that's kind of where a lot of people are spending their time now. And it seems like that's where a lot of the platforms are dumping a lot of their investment, like Instagram with Reels, YouTube with Shorts, TikTok cannot be ignored. So, I mean, yeah, so that being said, you can do a lot of this with video. You can do a lot of this with posts as well. So do you guys have any questions about anything that we have kind of set up today?
You're talking to us or our viewers?
You do.
Yeah. I guess what just for Ryan and Graham, what goals do you guys have for your social presence in the next, say, quarter, 12 months or 3 months?
Graham, do you want to jump on that new one? Or you want me to go first?
You go first.
So I heard a quote, and thank you for asking this question. So I heard a quote, and there's a guy that I follow, and I think I turned you on to him. His name is Neil Dingra, and he is a loan officer in Reno, Nevada. And he's kind of a straight-laced kind of guy like me. I don't consider myself a TikTok dancer, but just watching what he's been able to do in his growth on social media and some of the stats and metrics that he's talked about, that's really our goal going forward, is not necessarily to be the best loan officer. Our systems and our processes are airtight, which is why John loves working with us. But at the same time, if no one knows who you are, it doesn't matter how damn good you are. So that's something that we are working to overcome, is we want to be the best, but more importantly, we need to be the best known. So our goal, to John's question, is to be the best known loan officer team in Central Ohio and Columbus more specifically. So we've seen small successes already, and we've only been at this for maybe about a month, and we really haven't done our biggest push yet. So we're really excited about where this is going to go. But as far as our goal is just to own a lot of mind share with people here locally, and more specifically, our past clients.
Nice. My follow-up is not going to be as strong, but I guess my goal in the next quarter would just be to keep learning about social media, how to use it effectively. And so I think it's nice to have guys like you two that
And you said you're pretty much not on social media at this point, right?
I'm not, no.
Right.
So I'm not on there personally either, really. So that's something that I need to probably work on. Probably, I guess I'll make a concrete goal instead of just learning. I try to take the easy way out, but just probably making an account and just getting the ball rolling.
Yeah.
With starting an account.
My goal, to answer my own question, is
Thank
to.
you.
Please do.
So my big thing is is the saying "done is better than perfect," and so just getting out there, and actually doing it, because it is something that I've, especially in the last month, I made some transitions professionally. I went to a new broker, so I kind of was just laying low for a while, but now the transition's done, I'm ready to get back out there. I think story-wise, I want to do at least 3 a day, which seems like a lot and it's daunting. That's my. But yeah, anyway, Graham, to kind of encourage you, done is better than perfect. Get it done.
Okay.
You'll figure it out over time, and then you'll go back in 5 years and look at your old posts and be embarrassed by your old content.
All these stories, so they go away, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No, I mean, I think that's a good, valid point, because I think that's where a lot of people get that paralyzing fear of judgment. So they feel like their content needs to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, if you think about how we all kind of consume social media specifically, it's 71. We're all flying 90 miles an hour down 71 to go where we're going. So we're not spending much time on any given piece of content. So to John's point, it doesn't need to be perfect. Mm-hmm. The way you fix the 90 mile an hour thing on the scroll is you just bury people with content. So John doing 3 stories a day, and then he's going to have client stories, and then he's going to have other things, and then shorts and reels. So having the volume of content is what's going to help you win. And hopefully with what you guys have seen today and being able just to get the ideas out of your head is really going to help you lay out your content strategy for the next year. Mm-hmm. So we don't have much time left on the stream today, but after you guys get your content ideas out of your head, then you need to actually, like John said, sit down and lay out a schedule for what you're going to talk about when, and then just freaking execute. Mm-hmm. So doing all this work it's completely pointless if you're not actually going to hit record or put yourself out there. So gentlemen, do you have anything that you want to add to the folks that are watching before we sign off for today?
DK, thanks for joining us and questions, man. You're from Miami Valley. I'm from the Dayton area myself. So
nice.
Keep after it, man. We'd love to connect with you too.
Graham, anything, sir?
Thanks for having me, you guys. Love learning from you, Ryan, always. John, it's nice to get to hear from your angle as well. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, you guys are welcome, and I appreciate both of you guys. And I'm excited to see where the 3 of us can take our content over the next couple of months. Once again, if anyone watching live or on the replay has any questions about anything that we talked about today, DM me, DM John, or DM Graham, and we'll be happy to help level up your game. Because once again, this is a skill that is learned. It's not something that comes inherent. As soon as we pass our real estate test, I mean, more than likely, all of us got pushed into the deep end, said, "Good luck, kid," after we got our license, and we're all trying to figure this out together. So that's why we're here as a group, to help you guys, and we'll love to help you guys grow and do more so you guys can serve at a higher level. Gentlemen, I love both of you guys. You guys are good men, and I appreciate both of you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. All right. Well, tune in next week. We're going to be covering some more stuff with social media, and if nothing else, shoot us DMs, and we'll be happy to do what we can about helping you guys answer your questions after the live's over. Have a great Tuesday, and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day.
I'd like to do something to start my social media learning. I can't figure out, but
so check the link in the top corner.
Yeah, link in Thanks, guys.
We'll get you there, buddy. All right, gentlemen, have a great day.
See you guys
later.